Good morning, our presenter and participant, and welcome all of you to the virtual Vietteso International Convention 2021. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to thank you so much for your participation and contribution to our annual convention success. And we are Tuna and Phương Thảo, the presentation moderators today. We are very delighted to see all of you here, especially in this main convention, and we hope that it would be a good chance for all of you to gain some valuable and maybe very wonderful experience and knowledge from the following session. And before the presentation, there are a few considerations. In case that you have any questions or concerns about the presentation, please feel free to leave them either in the comment or chat box. Maybe you can raise your hand so that we can gather all the questions for easy response in the Q&A session. And please remember that the Q&A session lasts for only 5 to 10 minutes. And now we are very glad to welcome all of you to this main convention. The presenter Dr. Ngoc Anh with the presentation on utilizing video recording to develop EFL student speaking skill. And about the presenter, Ms. Dr. Ngoc Anh earned her diploma in ELT from ULIS Hanoi National University in 2004. And she has more than 15 years of working experience as an ELT lecturer from University of Economics and Business Administration. And she is now currently the vice head of the English division and a very innovative lecturer. And she is always interested in teaching and doing a lot of researches. And now I will let the share screen turn to Ms. Dr. Ngoc Anh. So Ms. Dr. Ngoc Anh, please.
Thank you, Tunga, very much. And now I'd like to share my PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Okay, may we start now?
Yes, you can start now, so please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's my great honor to be here with you to share and to be shared. Thanks Vietteso and the National Language Project at Vinh University very much for organizing such a wonderful workshop that gives me valuable opportunities to meet and learn new things from the colleagues and experts in English teaching. Now I'd like to present my research result of the utilizing video recording to develop EFL students' speaking skills. The study aims to examine the effectiveness of utilizing video recording on EFL student speaking skills and performance at Nguyen University of Economics and Business Administration. It also attempts to explore the students' perceptions towards the use of video recordings in completing speaking assignments. From the research result, I will attempt to provide suggestions for better exploitation of video recording in enhancing speaking, teaching, and learning. I hope that the research will bring about an effective tools for you in English teaching in general and in improve the student English speaking skills in particular. Especially, this will help you to enrich your teaching approaches during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are 5 main parts in my presentation as the rationale, the research questions, the research designs, findings, and the recommendations. Firstly, I'd like to brief the rationale of speaking skills and the use of video recordings. As all of us know that speaking is one of the most important skills, and it is also the crucial part of the curriculum in any language teaching. However, it is considered one of the most difficult aspects of language learning. Speaking is a significant skill with complex constitutions that need to be mastered by the learners, including vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, fluency, and interactive communications, so that the learners can obtain their success in the life, work, and study in this integrated world. Nevertheless, EFL's language learners are often finding themselves difficult in conveying their thoughts effectively in the target language, and creating a successful speaking lesson has always been a challenging task for the teachers. In fact, in attending a speaking class, students often feel very anxious because of the pressure from the speaking task that requires them to present individually in a limited time. Sometimes they have nothing to say because the topic is too difficult for them, or they are too shy to respond to the teacher in the target language. It might be because they have little ideas about what to say, which vocab to use, or how to use grammar correctly. So sometimes it takes them a lot of time to think and to respond. So it's time for the teacher to find ways to enhance the teaching approaches effectively in order to get the student involved in their speaking lessons. One of the most practical ways which can be easily implemented is by using video recording. Thanks to the innovation of the latest technology, the application of video recordings in speaking classrooms has become more and more convenient, making it possible for students to make their own videos of themselves speaking in English, or to view or to give comments to the other students' speaking performance. And here comes the advantages of video recording. Firstly, video recording activities have to elicit the students' self-evaluation and peer feedback among the students. That is, they can watch themselves speaking, and so can their friends, from which they will recognize the mistakes from the video and the people's comments. By doing this, they will evaluate each other. And secondly, by recording their speaking activities, the student will have opportunities to replay the recording as many times as they want, so they can make self-evaluation and become more self-critical, because they can see their problems and check their improvements. And thirdly, video recording can be a good way for the teacher to have students to become the better speaker of English. In order to achieve the research objectives, the study focused on the 3 research questions as follows. The first one, what is the effectiveness of utilizing video recording on EFL student speaking skills? The second one is, what are the student perceptions on the use of video recording in completing speaking assignments, and its effectiveness in improving their speaking skills? And the last one is, what are the challenges the student encounter when creating a video records of them speaking? The research was done using the quantitative method with quasi-experimental result. The sample size of the research is 26 freshmen of the advanced class at Tiber, and the participant was then divided into 2 groups, the control group and the experimental group, with 13 students in each group. And the instrument of the study is the pre-test, the post-test, and the questionnaire. And the data collected for the pre-test and the post-test then was compared and analyzed using the independent samples t-test, and the responses from the questionnaire was then interpreted and analyzed using the descriptive statistical method. Now I'd like to give some information about the participants of the research. As you can see from the table 1, among the 26 participants of the study, 81% of students are females, and 69 of them live in the countryside with some mountainous areas. All of them study English before entering university, of which 81% began to learn English in third grade. This means they have about 10 years of English language exposure prior to their university program. Other participants belongs to the advanced class at Tiber, which have a completely different curriculum compared to the standard one. In responding to the question of the reason for choosing the advanced program, all the students said that that's their choice, that's their preference. As can be seen, most of the participants have learned English for a long time. So hopefully they should have a certain methods of English learning. Besides, those who come from the urban areas may seems to have a better condition for learning English. And one more thing, all of the members of the experimental group have a smartphone and laptops or computers. They have enough electronic devices to carry out video recording for this research. In order to make it easier for you to be clear about the research method, I'd like to give you some details of the research instruments. To determine the impact of making video records on the student oral performance, the speaking paper of Cambridge B1 preliminary test that we often call PAT exam was adapted as the pre-test and the post-test. The result of the pre-test and post-test then were analyzed, compared, and contrasted to find out the influence of the experiment. The pre-test was taken at the beginning of the speaking module, while the post-test was taken at the end of the module. And the student take the pre-test and the post-test in pairs, which last for about 8 to 10 minutes. These two tests consist of the 3 parts. The first part is each candidate interacts with the interlocutor. In the second part, the candidates interact with each other with the aid of a visual stimulus. And in the last part, the candidates work individually by talking about a colored photo. In order to assure the reliability of the result, the post-test was administered by the researcher and assessed by the other 2 examiners. And in assessing both the pre-test and the post-test, the analytical assessment skills by Cambridge Assessment English for Speaking Test was also adapted. Since the main focus of the study was examining the impact of video recording on students' grammar, vocabulary, fluency, pronunciation, and the interactive communication, so the criterion of grammar and vocabulary was divided into 2 separate criteria, namely grammar and vocabulary. Besides, the criterion discourse management was also renamed as fluency, but keep the same scoring rubric. Besides that, I also use the questionnaire decided using the 5-point Likert scales in order to gather the student perceptions and overviews on the use of video recording. The questionnaire is designed in Vietnamese, and it was used based on the Google Forms in order to make it easier for both the researcher and the respondent to give and to gather the data. The questionnaire consists of the 2 main parts. The first part is used to gather the student general information, and the second part is to gather the students' attitude of the utilization of video recording in completing speaking tasks and assignments, their views on the effectiveness of the video recording activities and their difficulties in using, creating, or handling their video assignments. The research was carried out during the speaking module, consists of 18 class sessions, of which the exception was the first week, the midterm week, and the final weeks. The pretest was taken in the first week and the post-test was taken in the final week, and the survey was carried out on the final day of the course. The experimental group members were asked to submit their videos via Google Classroom once every 2 weeks. The lesson for both control and experimental group were the same procedure according to the course book parts. That is vocabulary, conversation, language booster, listening, and speaking with confidence. The difference was in the last tag called the speaking confidence, of which the control group fulfilled the task at the end of the lesson in the classroom. Then the teacher and the rest of the class gave them comments and feedback. In contrast, the experimental groups were asked to work individually or with their partners to create a video of their task or conversation of the given topic at home. Of all the videos submitted to the teacher would choose a half to comment and feedback directly. Another half would be shown to the whole class to give compliments and comments in the next lessons. After receiving the teachers' and classmates' comments and feedbacks, the experimental group members were advised to watch their videos again and edit the videos based on the feedback, and then submit the final version to the teacher for assessment. And here comes the findings. Firstly, I'd like to show you the score of the pretest of the 2 groups. As can be seen from table 2, the mean score of the control group, was 5.15, and that of the experimental group was 5.2, which was slightly higher. However, the Leven's test for the equality of variance shows that the significant value is 0.867, which is greater than 0.05. So the variance of the 2 groups are not different. From the result of the independent samples sample t-test, it can be seen that the significant was 0.811, which is greater than the 0.05 significant level. So the mean pretest score of the 2 groups are not different. So it can be concluded that there is no difference in the mean score of the pretest between the 2 groups. This means that the students of the 2 groups have the same speaking ability. And now let's have a look at the score of the post-test. As we can see here, the group statistic of the table show that there is a difference in the post-test score of the 2 groups, of which the mean score of the control group was 6.62, whereas that of the experimental group was 7.72, which is about 1 point higher. The Leven's test for the equality of variance show that the significant value at 0.749, which is greater than 0.05. Thus, the variance of the 2 groups are not different. From the result of the independent sample t-test, the significance for this was 0.008, which is less than the significant level of 0.05. Thus, the post-test mean score of the 2 groups are different. So, in conclusion, we can say that there is a difference in the post-test mean score between the 2 groups. This means the video recording had positive effect on the speaking ability of the experimental group members, and the student score was improved thanks to the treatment. Now, let's see how the score of the 2 groups changed before and after the video using the video recording. As we can see in table number 4, the mean score of the control group in the pretest was 5.15, and in the post-test it was 6.6, and the mean difference was minus 1.46. The significance was 0, which is below 0.05, so the difference is significant. And the data from the table 5 show that the mean score in the pre-test was 5.2, and in the post-test it was 7.7. The mean difference was minus 2.52, and the significance was 0, which is below 0.05. So the difference is significant. From the comparison of the mean score of the two groups before and after the treatment, it is clearly seen that the treatment score of, it means that the mean score of the experimental group in the post-test was better improved than that of the control group. This indicated that the use of video recording worked well and had good influence on student speaking performance. And now let's go in details of the changes in speaking elements mean score of the experimental group after the treatment. As we can see from the table number 6, the comparison between the pre-test and post-test mean score of the experimental in terms of grammar, vocabulary, fluency, pronunciation, interactive communication. It is also clearly seen the significance for the comparisons as well as the rank of the improvement. Now just look at the grammar criterion. The pre-test score was 1.03. The post-test mean score was 1.55. The mean difference was 0.52, and the significance for this comparison was 0. This reveals that the difference in the pre-test and post-test was very significant. This means that the creating of videos of speaking have students to improve their grammatical knowledge. It is maybe because the students have a chance to review their self-recording and learn from the teachers and classmates' comments. Secondly, look at the vocabulary criterion. The pre-test mean score was 1.1 and the post-test was 1.55. The mean difference was minus 0.45. And the significance for this comparison was 0. This reveals that the difference in the pre-test and post-test were also very significant. And this indicated that the use of video recording in fulfilling speaking assignments can have the student to enrich their vocabulary range. It can be understandable because students have more preparation time to perfect their videos before submitting to the teacher, and they will know how to use up the time to decide what words to use. By doing so step by step, the student can know more and remember better new words. For fluency criterion, the pre-test mean score was 0.96 and the post-test mean score was 1.55. The mean difference was minus 0.58, and the significance for this comparison was 0. This reveals that the difference in the pre-test process was highly significant, and it indicated that the use of video recording in completing speaking assignment can also have students to be more confident and can have them express themselves in a more fluent comment. Actually, thanks to the integration of video recording in completing the speaking task, the student will have more opportunities to replay and review their self-recording. Based on the teacher and peer feedbacks, the student can make good self-evaluation and know how to express themselves better. For the last two criteria as pronunciation and interactive communication, it can be easily seen from the table that the post-test mean score were higher than the pre-test scores in both criteria. The mean difference was minus 0.47 and minus 0.49 respectively. This shows that the difference is very significant and also make clear about the role of video recording in improving the students' pronunciation and interactive communication ability. Looking at the rank, it is shown that fluency ranked the highest improvement thanks to the treatment. The second position belongs to grammar, and vocabulary placed the least improvement after the treatment. In conclusion, all the speaking elements of the student in the experimental group changed positively after the application of video recording in speaking task, and the differences are all significant. This indicated that the treatment is suitable and practical in improving the student's speaking skills. And now here comes the data analysis of the questionnaires. Looking at the figure 1, this shows the student perception on the use of video recording in completing speaking assignments. The data indicated that all the students totally agree that the treatment is very necessary to have them get more opportunities to practice speaking English. And 92.3% of the students totally agree that the treatment is fun and exciting for them to learn English, and they really like to record videos of English speaking. This means, and 7.7% of the students agree that the video recording is fun and exciting, and they like to record videos in completing their speaking project. This means that the treatment is something very new to them, so it is highly motivating and appealing to the student. And since it is a new learning experiment, so 76.9% of the students totally admitted that they feel more relaxed and motivated in recording videos of themselves speaking English. This can be concluded that the students have a positive attitude toward the use of video recording in completing their speaking task. Most of them show that the treatment is necessary and gives them an exciting learning experiment. For the question of the effectiveness of the using video recording in improving speaking skills, it's interesting to learn about the students' response. As you can see from the table number 8, this reveals that almost students agree and totally agree that video recording have a positive impact on their speaking performance. For the item number 2, all the students stated that the videos recordings contributed to make speaking lesson more exciting and fun. In fact, the student felt very relaxed when learning environment is somehow different from the other skills, since they could work in pairs, in groups, freely with good noise. Sometimes they got a lot of excitement when watching and commenting the other students' videos. For the item number 1, number 5, number 6, and 8, over 70% of the students totally agree that the use of video recording activities helps them to feel more motivated to speak English, and it could help them a lot in improve their pronunciation and fluency. Besides, the treatment also offer them great chance to develop their pair work and teamwork skills, which are really important for them in their future career. Regarding item number 3 and number 4, we can see that 69.2% of the students totally agree that creating video records helps them to improve their grammatical knowledge, and agree that their vocabulary range will also improve thanks to the treatment. For the items number 9 and number 10, over 50% of the students totally admitted that video recording activities greatly contributed to make them more confident in speaking English. And they also agree that by creating speaking videos, they can develop their public speaking skills and their presentation skills also. things seem to be much easier for them since they can keep themselves be active and well prepared for any speaking task. In conclusion, the incorporation of video recording into speaking lessons could work very well. It didn't only improve the student overall oral fluency, but also accuracy. Besides, thanks to the trimming, the student can develop their soft skills such as presentation skills, public speaking skills, and teamwork skills also.
Miss Ngoc Anh, we are running out of time.
We
are running out of time.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I just 5 more minutes. It's okay. And actually, it's very difficult for the student to avoiding some difficulties in creating the speaking video records. And as we can see in figure number 2, 46.2 of the students totally agree and 30.8 students agree that they still feel very shy in front of the camera. And 84% of the students say that the video recording is very time consuming. Actually, it is very easy to understand because in order to get the best videos, the student need to follow some steps, and this took a lot of time. Therefore, time could be the biggest challenge for them in creating video recordings. And besides, over 60% of the students agree that the teacher instruction is sometimes confusing and the teacher's demand is too high. So they may make it difficult for them in completing the speaking task. Basing on the students' difficulties, I'd like to propose some recommendations as follows. For the student, we need to raise the awareness of the importance of speaking skills. It's also very necessary to develop the digital and media literacy. And last but not least, it also necessary to enhance the sense of self-study and motivation. And for the lecturer, I think the first and the foremost recommendation is the teacher try to give the clear instruction and choose the relevant topic to make it easier for the student to complete their task better. And next one, it is also necessary to increase the effectiveness of the supplementary modules in the English curriculum, such as vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation in the intensive English program for the advanced class. And of course, it is very important. Yes.
Yes, so I think that you can focus on maybe the most important recommendation, and then we can come to the Q&A session.
Yeah. Okay. Here comes the most. The focus of my recommendation is to promote the use of the ICT in teaching English. For example, the teacher can use some tools for Flipgrid, for Padlet, or e-portfolio. Actually, because of the limitation of the time, so I just call out the name of some effective tool that the teacher can use in their speaking class in order to have the student to improve their speaking skills. And if you want to know more details about this tool, please contact me via email. I will give you some more information about these tools. That's come to the end of my presentation. And as you can see, that the studies show that the student speaking skill can be improved by the use of video recordings. Beside the good significance of the study, there still exists the limitation of the research. The first one is the employment of the quasi-experimental design of the research with the small sample. So I think in the future, the further study should focus more on the bigger population, on the bigger sample size, and the study should use the real experimental method with the sample chosen randomly. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ngoc Anh. I think that because we are running out of time and you still got a lot of questions from the maybe
I'm sorry for this inconvenience.
Yes.
Okay, so Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any question, please feel free to give me, and I will try to.
Yes, I think here are the questions that you got from all the viewers from this session. And in case that if you have any questions, so you can contact directly to Miss Ngoc Anh so that you can get your answer. And Miss Ngoc Anh, can you send the emails to all of us so that in case that anyone would like to have the questions, so they can send them to you via email.
Okay, as you can see from the first slide of my presentation, I have my name and my email address, or I will type my email address in the chat box and you can look at this.
Excuse me. Thank you for your presentation, but we have to stop your section now, right? For the other section. Okay, thank you for your presentation. All right, because 5 minutes are over, right? Thank you a lot, Ms. Dang.
So thank you very much, and please remember that you can send all the questions to Hồng Anh. I'm sorry, Ngoc Anh .tup.com, right? And you can see her email in the chat box. So please send her the questions, and I will send all the questions that I got from you to her so that she can get the reply. Okay, so now please turn on your cameras so that we can take the photos to enjoy the wonderful time moment at VIC.